Hey guys, this is Oshi. Yay, my face. So I thought that I'm gonna be a bit more lazier because I don't want to set up everything because this past week was kind of exhausting. So I don't really have a lot of energy to set up everything and make a really nice video. So I was just watching Marty's video, and I was thinking that he just sits down in front of the camera and shows the cards, and that works well. So why can't I do that? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. So as you can see from the title, hopefully, I'm gonna talk about the decks that I used the previous month as per usual, but there's not gonna be decks for next month. I'm gonna tell you why later. And instead I was thinking that, I have a lot of cards for each month now, and I was thinking that I can, go through what my February cards were for the monthly reading, and maybe you can chime in and see if you can just help me get the meaning behind everything, because obviously there's Lenormand and I'm not and I shouldn't mess with my laptop, which is holding my phone. I don't know enough Lenormand right now, so you can just give me tips maybe if you want. Plus, people from the outside have the advantage to look at the things more objectively. So I'm in my life, you're outside of it, you can see what I'm not seeing. So last month was my birthday month. I still have my birthday balloon, which probably gonna be there for I don't know, next year, because I'm waiting for the air to leave it, and it's not moving. It looks like it's gonna be there forever. It's gonna be a little experiment to see how long that balloon is gonna last. I have regular balloons over there above my bed, which you cannot see, but I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 balloons, I think. Yeah, 3 of them are almost like game over. 1 started shrinking, no, 2 started shrinking, but 3 is still holding up. So another experiment. Why not? But I don't even know, and I didn't check how much decks that I had on my table last month, but I know that even though I was very enthusiastic and I picked decks that I absolutely love, which was a good idea actually, I didn't use them all. I pretty much used the same amount of decks, like one for a monthly, not for a monthly, one for a weekly reading and one for a daily one, and that was still just 4 weeks, so not a lot of combination. Especially because I switched, and sometimes I used the weekly ones for the daily ones, because I'm trying not to be too hard on it and be too rigid that I have to use everything that's on my table. It's more of a suggestion, and I kind of have a feeling, to be completely off topic, that I'm gonna do something like that with my washi tapes, because I have 2 huge boxes full with washi tapes, which means that every time that I want to sit down, I need to go to that table, because I have 2 tables, because I need one to, that was supposed to be my study table, and this was supposed to be my regular everyday I can play a jigsaw puzzle on table. And I'm sorry, I need to check messages that are coming in. I will tell you why later. Like I said, it's connected to that. It's nothing or whatever, it's just more personal, and I was like, if you're not interested, you shouldn't sit that through. So I have a jigsaw puzzle here that I'm currently working on. Why can I? Yeah, that way, that's hard. Which means that I cannot use that deck for anything else. That would be more ideal for filming, because you can see I have a bunch of windows there, and I only have one here and a dark corner here, so this is not ideal. But I cannot put the holders, the phone holders, anywhere without actually attaching them to the table, and that would mean it's moving when I'm filming something. So I'm like, I'm sitting here, which I have like shelves on the wall that I can attach my holder on, in case you're wondering. But what did I wanted to say with that? I don't know. Oh yeah, the washi tapes. This is how I know I don't have ADHD, because I can go back. Just, you know, I'm a very normal, brainy person, which is kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to be in a position where I'm like, oh, I wish I could have that, because it's not easy for people to have it. But I look at people with, you know, like some neuro spiciness, and I think they are the future. I think how information is consumed, you need a brain that can easily switch around and consume data differently. And I think everybody who's suffering around right now because we are forcing the old ways to be still the mainstream, they are the future. And I'm not, and I'm old, and I'm gonna be, you know, stay in the past. This is me, myself dying in the face of sci-fi-ness. Yeah, I had a birthday month. But back to the washi tapes. I'm thinking about just getting one plastic holder, and how long? That was like a 5 minute story for just one thing. And put like just one from each color in it and use it until, you know, they are gone, because I have, sorry, I have overwhelmed with washi tapes, with decks, in a sense that I want to use them all, but if I want to use them all, I'm not using anything, or I'm still just using one because I'm just grabbing the closest thing. And that was the thing for February as well, because I had a bunch of decks on my table, and I still used like 2 or 3. I eliminated the new edition of the Smoke, Ash and Embers pretty much immediately, because it felt too precious, which I know is stupid. This is not how you use your deck, but I want to use it because it has a new deck, a new bag, and it has a pretty box. But at the same time, I love my first edition. So I don't know, but I pre-ordered the new winding deck. So if you haven't seen it, Stephanie, the 3 Stero, Stephanie, what's her surname? Can be Mayers, right? That's my best friend's name. Whatever. Stephanie and Adam Ohlers, because he's the illustrator. I'm sorry. Things are there. The heavy things are happening in life. At this very moment. That's why I'm filming a video, so to speak, to just, I don't know, distract myself. So it's gonna be not gonna be a very cohesive video. So the new deck, it's gonna be a black and white deck, and it's gonna be a spidery deck. There's a tiny spider, but not the scary one, but it reminds me of a tiny jumping spider. And if you're afraid of spiders, I understand if you don't want to see anything from that deck. But if you are not, or if you're like, spiders, who cares? Check videos of tiny jumping spiders. They are so tiny. They look like a pet, like an actual pretty tiny pet. And I would like to have one, but my family was like, you're not doing that. And I was like, okay. So this was, put away. I think in week 2 I was like, okay, I'm gonna just move it back to the shelf because I'm not using it. Another one that I used that I didn't use was my deck for my the one that I got from my friend, because I didn't have time to actually sit down and film a video she doesn't care about tarot. I don't exactly know what she thinks about tarot, because it's a topic we're not talking about, but our relationship is, really close. It's like family. So I don't feel like her not caring about tarot or wanting a reading from me is a bad thing, because she is the one who lives in UK, and she always helps me with decks. I can just order decks to her if she's about to come home and she's taking it for me. There was never an issue. She never said anything. It's just that for some reason she's never asked for a reading, and I don't know, maybe it's because we don't live in the same country, but we have a hard time to actually find the time to sit down and have those deeper conversations for years now, unfortunately, which I always think about how to do that, because we don't live in the same country. And when you don't live in the same country, at least that's my experience, even if you talk regularly, it's not the same as being in person and having those conversations in person, because you have you need to be able to read the other person, the non-binary clues. That was a Freudian slip. Non-verbal cues, to be able to see how to thread with a serious topic. So yeah, we're planning on, like going some places, but even if when I visit her, she's not alone because she lives with her fiance. It's not the same. So we will need at least a week somewhere where we are not sightseeing and not doing anything, to get those conversations out of the way, to me, not out of the way, but maybe out of the way, to get back on track for sure. But something like this, like, why do you not want a reading, is not something that I want to ask just over WhatsApp or phone or something, because obviously it's important for me. But I'm understanding why my mother doesn't want a reading, for example, because she takes it too seriously. And if there would be something negative in the reading, she couldn't just take it as, okay, this is the current situation, I can change it. She would be like, okay, game over, there's nothing we can do. Which I understand and I respect. I don't want to force tarot on anybody. It's not something that should be forced on anybody, just like religion. But anyway, so those were I think the two that I haven't used at all. I used the ink drop I think I used it for 1 week for a weekly reading, and you guys get to see some cards. And I love her. And daily pose for for sure. And I realized once again how much I love this deck. And you would think that this is my own deck. I would know that I like it, but I have so many other decks that I love, so I'm not exclusively using just mine, obviously. But yeah, I just love it. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. It works well. I love it. It cheers me up with the colors. That's the biggest thing with this deck, is that I love pastel decks. I love decks with a color theme. I love black and white decks, even though I don't really have a lot. Monochrome is something that perfectly fine. Like, I have the Citadel Oracle, which is like three colors, tops, I think, and the foiling. I love those, but these very vibrant colors is something that I really do appreciate and love. So that was a great deck to be used. Like, what a surprise. Another one, which I think I only used it once, was the Crow Tarot. I really wanted to use it more, because finally I trimmed it. I haven't had time to edge it yet, but I struggled with the cutter, the Fiskars guillotine cutter. I don't know, this is the second one that I bought, and it's the same problem, so I don't know why it's happening to me, or am I using it wrongly. But the main idea is that there's a guard, and then you put the card, like top, like you push it like to the top, and then if it's completely like in line with the top and you cut it, the line is straight. For me, it always strays, like it in a like a ambiguous version of what would happen is that it would be correct here, but at the end of here there would be like 1 millimeter white remaining from the border, and it always happens. which means that I can't just put it on, you know, I can't do it mechanically as fast as Don Michel is doing it. I always have to, you know, like trying to adjust. So I'm losing more, what is it called, artwork because of that, for sure. And sometimes when there are lines remaining, they are not parallel to the bottom, for example, because, you know, I'm not that good with just eyeing things. For example, if you can see, I don't know if you can see, maybe, yeah, under the page there's some white left, but under swords the bottom of the letters are already missing because, you know, it wasn't correct. And that, it's not bothering me as much as I thought that it would. So I'm getting there with my OCD. But look at that. I love this fool. I don't know, I love it. The deck is still amazing. It works really well. But yeah. Look at that hermit. I need some time. Hopefully after, like, please don't focus on the balloon or whatever. Why is it not focusing on a hermit? Okay, I don't know, sorry. It's out of focus, so it should be. The hermit has there's a tree, and it's winter, and it's like the icy road which we had in January. It was very hard to go outside, so it reminds me of that. So the cards are still amazing, but I haven't had time to sit down and actually look at each card, which I want to do. I want to switch from just quickly going through a deck, filming a flip through, which I always do. I have the amazing Living Coat Pharaoh, which I was waiting for, which I haven't touched. Besides filming a flip through, since it's sitting there for like 2 weeks now, and I don't know how long it's gonna sit there because I have decks from last year that I still haven't had time to do anything with. But so I'm thinking about, you know, not just doing the first impression quickly going through it and pulling a few cards that I like, pulling a few cards that I don't like, looking for pairings, which can be useful. But I watched, because I had time, Lisa Puppet, one of her videos, like a deep dive. I kind of want to do that with my decks. And if I make a video, it forces is not a good word, but it helps me carve out the time to actually sit down and, you know, like do that with my deck. So I'm probably gonna film it, and if I'm filming it, I should upload it. Give me a second to let my cat in. Okay, so the cat is inside. So, yeah, already 18 minutes. Were you expecting anything else? Then you haven't watched any of my videos. I kind of missed making a video like this, actually. So yeah, and that was that. I'm using still the White Newman. I started using it, I think, after February. Let's grab a few. That's my daily pull. I shouldn't, because, you know, YouTube doesn't like boobs, but I love this High Priestess. Because, you know, the High Priestess, okay, maybe I shouldn't zoom on her boobs that much. The High Priestess has sexuality as a weapon, so to speak, in her arsenal, because the High Priestess is connected to secrets. And how do you get secrets out of people? Well, sex is one of those options. So I appreciate that. And I think I talked about it back then, and at the first impression, that I wasn't sure how I liked this card back at first. I was like, but then I was like, and I still think it's right. Ja, titta, first. Ja, titta. Ja, titta. We want it all. Okay, my cat doesn't want to jump up currently. So I used it. Did I do a reading for Valentine's Day? Can't remember. I don't think so. But I used it around that time for sure, because, you know, it's my love deck. It still works really well for relationship readings. I don't know why. But also, I need to have decks out of the box on my table so that I can sometimes just pick them up. And I know people do that, but I just don't really have a place to store naked decks like that. For example, there's too many cousins can, like randomly come into my room to leave tarot decks just on my night shelf or something like that. Please steal whatever is you're stealing. But I really want to have an option to, just look through the cards, because I kind of forget how certain cards look like, because they don't come out in readings often. Like this devil is a very interesting devil. Oh, it comes up often. Yeah. But yeah, this one wasn't a surprise. Gyere Cica ide föl. Gyere. Gyere Cica. Hát de én nem megyek most sehova. Mit szeretnél, Cica? Gyere ide föl. Nope. Still no. Okay, so that was the White Newman. I have the Ten of Pentacles today. Gyere Cica. I'm working on her relationship, and sometimes she comes up into my lap now on her own, which she didn't do for a long while. So another one, Citadel, was something that I tried to use as a daily. I think I talked about it somewhere. Did I? Kind of think. I don't know. I think I mentioned it. And maybe I mentioned it in the planner video, that it's an excellent deck. I love it. But because it's an oracle deck, which I'm not entirely intimately familiar with, even though look at this, how pretty it is. And you have to read reverse as well. The idea of pulling a card each morning was great, but it wasn't working well because I didn't have time to. I quickly just took a picture of the guidebook, and then halfway through the day I was like, oh, I forgot to read it, and it wasn't really working well. And I cannot put it back now. Why? So it worked well for a weekly one, that's for sure, but it's not working well for me for as a daily pull, which I kind of it makes me sad, because a daily pull makes it like easier to see more cards, obviously. But anyway, it's a great deck. I still love it, and I'm so pleased that there's a mass market, because I missed the indie ones. And then the sci-fi tarot, which I had as a weekly read last week. These were my cards for last week, which was very interesting. If you look at it, there's a lot of yellow and red in it. I haven't pulled anything from next week yet. And this is a deck again where I need time to look through things, because the cards are very interesting, and it's not, and the tiny like poster like text make things different. Like the star, the woman of the cosmos, a journey into the realms of fertility and intuition. Like, why would you say that of the star? That's a very interesting one. Gyere ide! Gyere Cica ide! Nem foglak kiengedni. She wants to go outside. She just came in. But the weather is actually nice, so I understand. And I will let her out because it's more annoying after a while to listen to her meowing. Okay, and the last one, which I don't know if there were more. Sorry if there was, like more. There were more and I forgot. Is the Season of the Witch. I think I only used it like 1 week, like the first week, and then I was craving something new. But I like it. It's still a great deck. Like, that was my first impression that why is it so dark suddenly? It was nicer. So it works well. It's a very wintry deck, and at first I was like, okay, I should get the other, like, I think the autumn is coming out, or it came out recently, but I don't want to fall down the rabbit hole of having all of them. So right now I'm thinking not getting it. And if I change my mind, I change my mind. So these were the decks for February, and why no March deck? Well, as you may know, if you keep up with world events and politics and what Trump is doing in the Middle East, the US and Israel attacking Iran had some effect on my family as well, because my sister lives and works in Kuwait, which means that she spent the last week sheltering at home, which she said it wasn't scary being there because nothing was happening where she lived, but she lived close enough to the water that at one point when she was on the call with my mom, there was a flash, and then turns out later it was a rocket that was shot down. So things like that happened, and for someone who lived as far as possible from anything like that in her entire life, it was scary. And then why I'm checking my phone is because today when I'm filming, there are bigger fuckeries happening in Kuwait and everywhere, but she's fortunately already in Saudi Arabia. I don't know how do you say this, Saudi or Arabia, because the Hungarian government for once did something, besides scaring Hungarian people with a war with Ukraine, because elections are coming up and they want to win, and they're for sure method how to win an election is just scaring everyone into oblivion with a threat of war. They learn from each other, these people. But my sister is currently, and I'm checking the the WhatsApp notifications on our family chat. She's currently, I'm not sure if she's already on board, but I don't think she could message, maybe use the internet when she's on board of a plane that was supplied by the Hungarian government, the army, because they can't take a picture, they can't tell where they are exactly, blah blah blah. So I'm not sure if she's still at the airport or or she's on the plane already, but fortunately she's on it. But this morning, the whole last week and everything, ever since things started, it's just stressful. So I wanted to film the video of this video last week, wanted to change the decks, but all I did was put back some on the shelf and left some here, and I'm using, like I said, I'm using the White Numen Tita. Give me a second. Life stops you to being overly dramatic because nothing that bad happened. It's very stressful because my sister spent 16 hours on the road from Kuwait to the hotel that was provided, and that meant that they had only 2 hours to sleep or, you know, like rest before they had to leave to go to the airport. And she almost didn't wake up, so it was very stressful this morning when we were calling her and she wasn't picking up. And we were like, if she misses the plane, we don't know how she's gonna come back, because there's only like army airplanes leaving the airport currently. At least that's what we're hearing. Like regular flights are getting cancelled and delayed and whatnot again. So it's fun. So ever since that, I can't really concentrate. I was supposed to work on my thesis this weekend. Yesterday I was just playing with the jigsaw puzzle, and I think I'm gonna do that until she's home. And I wanted to do other things like film videos and work on like topics I need to like do for the final exam, which is in 3 months. So I need to start studying. But yeah, I wasn't really doing anything. So that's the life update. So no, nothing really, no, not a lot of new decks or anything like that. Like I said, I have decks that I should do videos, but I just, every time I'm like, I'm too exhausted mentally or emotionally or whatever. And I know there are other like people in Iran, they died, so it's much worse. It's just that this is my current situation. So besides that, I've thought that I'd show you the cards that I had for February, tell you what I thought they meant, maybe, and then you can tell me what you think they meant. So the main energy was affirmation for healing the heart, which I kind of thought it's gonna be, and I kind of think it was about, you know, like relationship residue. Because, you know, spring is in the air, so obviously these things came up. Let me check. Did I write anything? Because what I do is I write some thoughts down at the beginning of the month, and I go back and see what I think or how it's changed. And the main message of this card was to make yourself happy, which I think I did well. I mean, better than expected. And then I had the building blocks. If it would focus. I think I'm staying too much in the dark now. It refuses to focus. And I think it's darker because, you know, the sun is somewhere or on there and it's getting cloudy. But the building blocks was very interesting because it's about, you know, creating a stable foundation for yourself. And why I'm saying it's very interesting, because I thought that I was doing well, and in my current spread I have a tower, which means that I'm not, it's at least some area of my life I'm not building a stable foundation, which is very interesting because I thought that I was doing well. And then I had guardedness. Maybe you can see the tiny one hiding. No, you cannot. There's a tiny dragon hiding in here. And this was all about not just knowing your boundaries, but respecting them. So it's not about, you know, you're too guarded and you should go out more and let people in. It's more about, it's okay to be guarded and it's okay to have boundaries, but not just in theory have boundaries, but to actually like respect them and tell people that you're not okay if someone is crossing them. And I didn't do it in a way that I was telling someone that, hey, no, but I was acting more along the lines of those boundaries. So I think I was doing well with that one. The tarot cards were, because I have 3 decks, I had a 5 of Pentacles and Strength, which I definitely felt, you know, I definitely felt these these two. I felt a lot of the times I felt like an outsider, but I was trying to remind myself that, you know, I'm stronger. It's not like I don't need anybody. It's not that. It's just that I can handle it, and it sucks, but I'll get over it, and I find a way to shift, because I think, and I know my friends won't watch this, so it doesn't matter, but my everyday friends, I do think that sometimes we're not good for each other in certain areas. We spend too much time together, and we're not necessarily building each other. So I need to be more mindful, or no, more intentional of looking for company that helps me grow, not just, you know, reflect back what I am now, because I don't think that's good for me anymore. I'm so very wise. Oh man. And then I had the moon, which is another lovely card, which you won't see because it's not. I'm trying to hide, so maybe it focuses here, but no. I know you're more bothered by me trying to get it focused than me not getting it focused, but I mean, there's a creepy, like, ghost here who's looking at the lady who's kind of looks like naked. So what are we saying with that one? Oh, there's a second one. I didn't even realize that the creep is here as well. Very interesting. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay, but so yeah, moon. Do I have a moon now this month as well? No, but I had the moon came up multiple times during the month, so definitely I'm in a place where I'm not privy to everything that I need to know, and I'm okay with it. I think I'm more okay with it than I normally am. So, you know, I don't need to know. There's just things I don't need to know right now, or I didn't need to know in the month. And then I had the Three of Wands, which I kind of felt like that I cannot make the first step to start something new until I'm getting the answers to the Moon card. And then I had three Lenormand cards. I had the cross, the birds, and the snake. And I don't know really how you read three cards together as one, because I'm using the Anake website to help me with my Lenormand interpretation, and there are you know, like two cards combinations there. So what I do is, and maybe it's not a good thing, I don't know what, so maybe if you are still watching and you have a Lenormand practice, please advise. Because now I'm doing it that I'm checking the first two card combination, and I'm checking the first two and the second and the third together, and then I'm trying to see, you know, like how it works, because I'm not confident in putting a meaning together from all three, because there are just so many different kind of meanings for each card that I'm just not confident enough to know how to combine them. So I'm hoping that if I'm learning the two card combinations, that will help me after a while see what meaning of a card is like has the strongest with surrounding cards, if that makes sense. I have a yearly spread, like a grand tableau, which I only did like write down the houses, and I'm trying to, you know, like pick areas to see what it is for the year, which was interesting because I had the, where was the book? Was it yeah, in the book, which is you know, like study, which I mean, you know, I mean the last semester of university, I had mountain. Yeah, that's the mountain, which means you know, like obstacles, and I'm definitely feeling them. But it kind of means that I can like get over those obstacles. I think that's how I read them. So please don't tell me that I'm gonna fail. So I'm trying to learn that way as well, to see the surrounding cards, but I think I'm making progress with Lenormand actually. But yeah, I can always use tips. And my reflection for the month was that I understand separately what these mean, but I don't see the big picture meaning behind everything. And maybe I don't have to. Maybe the moon card is coming in as a reminder that sometimes, or most, I guess most in my life, I only see the pictures, the tiny ones, not the big one, because I'm not in a position to see the big picture, because maybe when I'm dead, I look back at my life, that's when I'm gonna see. Because yes, sometimes something happens and years later you see why that thing happened in a way it happened, because that was actually what was right. You just didn't see it because you were in the moment. But sometimes it doesn't happen, so I don't always expect to be supplied with a reasoning at the end of it, because I'm not here in this form, in this state, to know everything. I'm just here to try to piece together things. But yeah, so 41 minutes, 42 minutes. Oh, 42 minutes. Let's finish with 42 minutes because it's fun. But yeah, thank you so much if you watched this. I'm sorry it's long, but you know me. And hopefully the next video is gonna be a bit more cheerful, even though I don't know what I'm gonna do and when I'm gonna do it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!